Chicago, a place of crime and violence. Many people think of the modern gangs who run throughout the south side of Chicago. Even though the modern gangs are well known, the gangs of the Prohibition era were even more notorious. The gangster most known around the world is Al Capone, the fearsome leader of the Chicago Outfit. Today, Al Capone is a legend who pulls people from around the world to Chicago. Tourists come to see the place where he and his gang hung out and the site of the infamous shootings. Despite the legendary status of Capone, many Chicagoans do not know how prohibition and organized crime worked in their own neighborhoods. There were no records. Criminals were not sharing or recording their stories. Due to this lack of communication, most people have never heard of the names Ahern family, Sassoon O'Donnell's, McErlane, or the Beverly Gardens, but they had an important impact on the southwest neighborhoods of Beverly and Morgan Park. It all started when Prohibition hit America on January 17, 1920. Around that time, the Ahern family opened Beverly Gardens at 91st Street and Western Avenue as a restaurant and dime and dance, where men could pay a dime to dance with a woman. Police became suspicious of the Ahern family and the Beverly Gardens when Eddie Morris killed police officer John Mullen on the north side of Chicago on January 3, 1921. Morris and his driver, Eddie McBride, escaped in a car registered to Arthur Ahern, a co-owner of the Beverly Gardens. A shootout occurred as the police chased the car towards the south side of Chicago, but the criminals eventually got away. The next day, January 4th, witnesses say they saw Morris and McBride drinking at Beverly Gardens. Chicago police detective Michael Grady was then posted as an undercover bartender at Beverly Gardens. At some point, Morris and McBride left Beverly for the Chicago Stockyards, where they attempted a robbery on January 7th. The robbery failed and police were called. Another shootout began, but Morris escaped again. On January 8, 1921, Detective Grady found Morris hiding in a mound of corn on a vegetable farm, most likely belonging to the Kellogg family, a mile west of Beverly Gardens. Kate Starr Kellogg, the educator for whom Kellogg School in North Beverly is named, lived on the farm at the time. After his arrest, Morris was interviewed by the Chicago Tribune. He explained that he was first discovered by an old farmer who came out to feed the cattle. The next thing Morris knew, he was surrounded by police yelling at him to come out. When he didn't say, they began shooting. Morris was shot twice and then captured. Morris told the Tribune that he had been hiding in Beverly in the adjacent suburb of Evergreen Park on and off for almost a week. He said he knew the lonely place in the country because he frequently hung out at the Beverly Gardens. The Beverly Gardens was the location of many more wild parties and criminal assaults. These led to police raids, and in February 1923, federal judge Adam Cliff closed Beverly Gardens for 1 year. In July 1923, Beverly Gardens was raided by Evergreen Park police. 20 people were arrested for illegal gambling, including Anna Ahern, the mother of the Ahern brothers. Police confiscated 3 roulette wheels, a Klondike board, and many chips and dice. People were also dancing and drinking alcohol. Based on the dates, this seemed to have occurred the same year when Beverly Gardens was supposedly shut down. Where did the Ahern get the alcohol to sell at Beverly Gardens during Prohibition? Al Capone? Actually, at the start of Prohibition, Al Capone only controlled the area north of 67th Street, so the liquor must have come from the Southside O'Donnells, a gang of 8 brothers headed by Spike O'Donnell in control of the entire south side of Chicago. Prohibition brought on the Chicago Beer Wars, fierce fighting between all gangs for territory to sell their illegal products. Beverly was the site of many fierce shootouts between the O'Donnells and other gangs, such as the Saltus McErlane gang. The Saltus McErlane gang was a mix of Joseph Saltus's men and Frank McErlane's men. Al Capone had given permission to the Saltus McErlane gang to take over the south side. However, Spike O'Donnell had already claimed it and was actively working in Beverly Morgan Park. This started many fierce shootings and fights over territory. During a gun battle in 1925 at the Capitol Inn at 95th and Western, Walter O'Donnell was killed. This led to warfare. In 1925, McErlane used a Tommy gun in an attempt to kill Spike O'Donnell at Western Avenue and 63rd Street. This was the first time a Tommy gun was used outside of warfare, so McErlane was unfamiliar with the gun and missed his mark. In the same year, the O'Donnells were ambushed at 91st and Rockwell, and a fierce gun battle resulted. After years of fighting, McGurlane and the O'Donnells teamed up and ran the South Side as allies. Saltus retreated to Wisconsin, and by 1932, the O'Donnells and McGurlane controlled the entire South Side. Even though McGurlane and the O'Donnells were supposedly at peace, the beer wars were still going on. In 1932, James McGee and Bernie Larkin were killed at the Del Rio Cafe on 95th and Western. Bernie Larkin was an associate of Spike O'Donnell, which could have led to his death. Police found a hidden barroom in the cafe and concluded that McGee was selling the wrong beer, either beer he brewed himself or purchased from the wrong people. He had told his wife, Peggy McGee, that he was hot, meaning that hitmen were looking for him. The Del Rio was not the only place in the neighborhood with hidden barrooms. Homeowners in Morgan Park, who wished to remain anonymous, recently discovered underground rooms in their yard with a tunnel pipeline connected to the garage. The Ridge Historical Society is researching the history of the room and has found evidence that the rooms were used for making illegal alcohol. Carol Flynn of the Ridge Historical Society spoke publicly about this for the first time with me.
That there is a house in Morgan Park that has underground rooms built into their backyard. Okay? Now, circumstantial evidence points to the fact that these rooms were probably used for illegal prohibition activity. And I'll explain how we came to that conclusion. But really, the story kind of starts in 1919 in a smaller city in Illinois. There was a couple by the name of John and Mary Smith, we'll call them, and they got raided by the police for their house being what's called a blind pig, for an unlicensed or illegal operation for selling alcohol. The next thing, and then in 1920, he was arrested for transporting intoxicating liquor along a public highway and fined $50. So we know this couple has a history, okay, of being involved in bootlegging and illegal booze activity. In 1932, John Smith was arrested as one of the operators of a riding stable, a horseback riding stable in Blue Island that housed a hidden still. In 10 of the 14 stalls, they found trap doors under which were vats of mash. A pipeline connected the cooking and fermenting areas to a still that was hidden under the garage on the property. Mm-hmm. Secret entrance to the tunnel that led to the still was under the dog kennel. And they found 60 cans, 5-gallon cans that were full of alcohol.
As you can see, Del Rio was not the only hidden room during Prohibition. More recently, a hidden room has been found in Morgan Park. This is the first time the hidden room has been spoken about publicly. This new hidden room is also connected to John Smith.
Okay, so it's likely it's around 1935 that actually those underground rooms were built. And and again, this is circumstantial evidence, but let me describe them to you. The underground rooms were very similar to the setup at the stables. Okay, they're in the backyard or the side yard of this house. There are 2 rooms that are underground. They're built like, I would call them like cement bunkers. Mm-hmm. Underground, they're cement rooms underground. They're built like concrete bunkers, and they're connected to each other. And then there is a tunnel that runs from them to a freestanding garage on the property.
Prohibition ended in 1933, but as Carol Flynn explained, illegal alcohol production continued because taverns needed license and had to reconstruct before selling products. This led to hidden taverns and brewing rooms being made in many places. We know of the gun battles, raids, and arrests, but there are few, if any, records of the hidden rooms. Therefore, it is up to the historians to communicate these stories to the public. The end of Prohibition is not the end of gangs, but a new beginning for them to profit off of a new business.